There's a lie we tell men about aging. We tell them that their 20s are for building, their 30s are for climbing, and their 40s. Well, that's the peak. That's the silver fox era. That's when the world opens up, and you finally become the king. But ask a single man over 40 how he actually feels on a Friday night. And he won't talk about feeling like a king. He'll talk about the silence. He'll tell you that somewhere between the gray hairs and the career stability, he didn't become distinguished. He became transparent. Society tells men that 40 is the top of the mountain. But for many, it feels a lot more like standing on the edge of a cliff, screaming into a void that refuses to echo back. Imagine this. You've done the work. You've spent 20 years grinding, building the career, paying the mortgage, maybe raising the kids who now only visit on weekends. You possess the emotional stability you didn't have at 25. You have the resources you didn't have at 30. You finally have the capacity to love someone properly, without the drama, without the games. But when you step into the modern dating arena, you aren't greeted with relief. You're met with indifference. You send a message, thoughtful, articulate, funny, read, 8:14 p.m. No response. You walk into a bar and you don't see eyes inviting you over. You see eyes looking through you, scanning for the next best thing, usually someone louder, younger, or more demanding. It's a strange paradox. You are the most visible you have ever been in your career, yet you are completely invisible in your heart. You begin to wonder, did I miss the boat? Or did the ocean just dry up? So, why is this happening? Is it just ageism? Or is it something deeper buried in our psychology? Let's look at the visibility gap. In our 20s, visibility is based on potential. A young man is seen for what he could become. His chaotic energy is exciting. It's dopamine. By 40, that potential is crystallized into reality. Reality is stable. Reality is safe. But here is the brutal truth about modern dating culture. Safety is often boring to people who are addicted to the chaos of the spark. Many men over 40 are operating on a frequency of competence and calm. But the dating market is tuned to a frequency of anxiety and flash. If you aren't playing games, if you aren't leaving her on red for 3 hours to create artificial scarcity, you are often labeled as too nice, too available, or simply lacking chemistry. Psychologists call this the availability heuristic. We value what is hard to get. The man over 40, who knows who he is and is ready to commit, is easy to get. So, his value in the warped economy of modern dating limits. But there's a second layer, the utility trap. Men are often conditioned to believe their worth is tied to what they provide. So, they lead with their resume. They talk about their job, their house, their travels. They think they are displaying value. But to a woman who is also established, or perhaps disillusioned by transactional relationships, this doesn't look like connection. It looks like a sales pitch. And beneath all of this is the silent epidemic of male emotional isolation. We don't mourn the men who are lonely because we assume they chose the silence. We assume they are bachelors, enjoying their freedom. We forget that men over 40 carry battle, scars, divorce, financial loss, the death of parents. They carry a depth of grief that they are told to hide. And because they hide it to appear strong, they become emotionally two-dimensional to the world. He isn't invisible because he is empty. He is invisible because the world has forgotten how to look for value in things that are in screaming for attention. But what if we have this whole thing backward? What if your invisibility isn't a curse? What if it's a filter? Here's the uncomfortable truth that might change how you see everything. You aren't invisible because you lack worth. You are invisible because you stopped performing. In your 20s, you performed. You peacocked. You pretended to be someone else to get the girl. Now, at 40, you are tired of the dance. You are authentic. You are sitting in your own skin. The people who walk past you, they are looking for a performance. They are looking for a mirror to validate their own insecurities. When they look at you and see a man who doesn't need to prove anything, they don't know how to interact with that, so they look away. He didn't lose his visibility. He lost his willingness to be a clown for someone else's entertainment. You feel invisible not because you are small, but because you are vast, and they are only looking for something shallow enough to wade in. So, where do we go from here? How do you escape the void? You stop trying to be seen by the masses. You stop trying to compete with a 25-year-old who has nothing to lose. You play a different game. Realize that invisibility to the wrong people is actually protection. It saves you from the narcissists, the energy vampires, and the drama addicts. They can't see you, and thank God for that. The goal isn't to be a billboard that everyone sees. The goal is to be a lighthouse. A lighthouse doesn't run around the island looking for boats to save. It just stands there. It shines its light. It stays solid. The boats that are looking for safety, they will find you. The boats that are looking for a party, they'll sail right past. Let them. For the men watching this, do not mistake your solitude for failure. Your depth is your currency. Spend it only on those who can afford it. And for the women watching, wondering where all the good men have gone, they are right there. In the quiet corners, carrying the weight of the world without complaint. You just have to adjust your eyes to the dark. Dating over 40 isn't about finding someone to complete you. It's about finding someone who sees you when the rest of the world has looked away. It's not about being the loudest voice in the room anymore. It's about being the one worth listening to. If you've felt invisible lately, consider this. Maybe the person you're waiting for is also sitting in a quiet room, waiting for someone to finally see them. You don't need a spotlight to be seen. You just need someone who isn't afraid of the dark.